Hey guys, what's up? Kil2 here. I got a fight tonight. I'm gonna try and get to it quick because it's a little long, but I wasn't streaming, and so I have fraps. I thought I'd do one of these commentaries to kind of get back to what I was doing before the streaming thing started. So I hope some of you appreciate that. But I'm gonna just try to get right into it. So tonight I felt like flying something a little untraditional since I've been flying a lot of sort of standard stuff, I guess. And I decided to fly a myrmidon, and the reason was I think that right now there's this new thing that I haven't really taken advantage of yet, where you can double damage boost drone ships because of the new drone damage amp. So you're looking at the fit, it's blasters on top, kind of a standard set of mids. I usually wouldn't want to do ASB fits, XL ASB fits especially, quite as much as everybody else is right now because they tend to lower the damage the ship can do, but the Myrm really doesn't have any problem because of this double damage bonus putting out a really high amount of damage still. So it's an XL ASP fit. I think there's a lot of configurations in the mids that could be better than this, but I just threw this together. I went with this, but the main thing is just it's got 2 drone damage amps and 2 mag stabs. So that means that, as you can see, it's 842 DPS before heat, which is pretty obscene. That's like definitely battleship level DPS. It's like gonna be similar to a Talos or something like that in most cases, as long as you can apply it. The trick is always with drones being able to apply it. I really need to be right on top of stuff with the ship. But yeah, that's basically it. I think it could be fiddled with and improved a little bit. You can see there's some extra CPU, and I don't have a damage control, so that's one real easy way I could just meta this Graham and get a damage control in there. But in any case, fitting really isn't my thing. So anyway, I took the ship and headed for Ethereum Reach. I kind of went somewhere random. A lot of the normal areas were kind of busy, and so as usual, I just started wandering off into semi-empty 0-0 and stumbled on these guys. And I'm not going to bother showing you the lead up to the fight. You guys are getting a lot of that now with the streaming, so just know that it's sort of typical. I went into the system, I went to the station, I kind of fiddled around there. I went and jumped a couple gates back and forth until some stuff came out and started looking for me. So I'm going to pick it up right after I had jumped a gate back into the station system and a curse landed on grid with a Hugin unscanned. So I'm going to start the footage now, and this is kind of a weird spot to begin with. Obviously, a curse is kind of a nightmare whenever you're by yourself. It's not as bad as a Falcon or even as bad as a Hugin in some spots, but newts are bad news when you're by yourself. They really shut you down. But what I decided to do is go ahead and approach him and try to start brawling him. And I know the drone DPS will continue to get through, and so they'll at least force him away. And if I get really stuck here, I think I can tank and jump. Like, I can drop aggro and tank. He caps me out here. Terrible, but it doesn't affect the ASB. Another huge advantage of the ASB. And then 2 weird things happen. One, his Dictor bubbles his gang. So that's unusual. And 2, he's not micro-warping. And he does have a micro-warp fit, but he does not use it. And I don't know if that's because he capped himself out, or if he had some other reason, but he really should be pulling range and he just doesn't. He could force my ogres to not be able to keep up, and their whole gang starts shooting my drones as well, which isn't ideal, but also isn't bad. You can see I'm taking almost no damage here, and I'm trying to conserve my charges on my ASB as long as I can. So I kill the curse, which is amazing, frees up enough cap regen for me to put Scram and Web on the Hugin. I don't know what's going to happen as this fight goes on, so I'm like kind of in... I mean, killing Recons is always good. There's really not a better option here anyway. He's close, but he's also worth a lot. He's also a big problem for me because he limits my mobility. So it's a pretty clear choice, especially with nothing else in Scram Web range. And you can see the damage is really high. The damage on the curse was pretty high. Even with just the drones, it should be around 400, 450 DPS just with the drones. And you can see here I'm not using my blasters again. That's because I'm webbed like outside of optimal. And so I'm not going to get lots of extra damage from them, and they're going to use cap that I need to make sure I can have the Scram and Web on. So I just let the drones chew him up. He has a pretty light tank also. They're still shooting my drones, but I was able to pop out another ogre there that I had in reserve. And Hugin goes down as well. So this is going pretty amazing. There's still, at this point, there's nothing on grid that really hurts me very bad. And the Loki is really close to me. He was like 20k off earlier, so I go ahead and tackle the Loki and start working on him. I'm still able to conserve quite a bit of ASB boosters since they're shooting my ogres. Have 7 left in there, even though right now there's really no DPS on the field at all. And And then my heart gets broken here. I'm shooting this Loki, got him tackled, everything's nice and cozy. And then, I don't know how much longer it is. Should be about right here, but he just goes ahead and warps right off grid here. So I'm assuming that's because he has the, there's a sub interdiction nullifier or something like that that increases your warp strength. At least I think that's the way it works. So his warp strength must be at least 3, which is kind of a bummer. And then a hurricane shows up. So now I have another decision. I'm low on cap charges. I know there's a Loki sort of nearby, even though I'm not sure if it can really do anything offensively. My drones are damaged, and there's this hurricane at 0. I really considered just shooting the hurricane. Sometimes when an engagement is rolling like this, there's definitely something to be said for just keeping it rolling, because they'll kind of trickle into you rather than forming up. But I decided that it was more important to reload my cap boosters. So since the stabber showed up, since the hurricane didn't aggro me right away, if he would have pulled the trigger right away, I might have re-aggroed him back. But I decided just to go ahead and try to take the opportunity to reload my cap booster. So to do that, I warp to a random belt at 50, and let my ASB reload. I think I just said cap booster, but I meant ASB. So that takes a minute and gives me a chance to repair my mods as well, even though that's not as important. But the main thing is just getting that ASB reloaded so that if I do get another fight, I have the full use of it. So while I'm in warp, I guess I can say that was a crazy fight. The curse has really been destroying me lately, but it's a really huge advantage of the Myrm that I don't need turrets to do damage, because any ASB ship without a way to generate cap, basically without a cap injector, is gonna just do nothing against the curse, because he's gonna turn your guns off, and that's you're just done. Not to mention he'll turn off things like my invuln and tackle, so that he has complete freedom to do whatever he wants. So I feel like I was really lucky to be able to kill him without him burning off, at least. But it's definitely also a testament to how awesome it is to have cap-free damage in the form of drones. But I would also say, if you're a recon pilot, either of these recon pilots, the Hugin or the Curse, you don't need to be close to be effective. They don't really gain anything from being right next to me. The Curse can nuke me from 20 or 30k away. The Hugin can web me from 20 or 30k away. Just stay at 20k plus, and you don't put yourself at so much risk. So I get back to the gate here, and Hurricane and Stabber are still in the gate, and there's a Naga at 100. So at this point, if there was any chance that I wanted to just shoot stuff at 0 on the gate here, I really don't want to now, because that Naga is likely a rail Naga and will add a lot of damage, and I'll have no ability to force him off the grid. So I give them a second to see if I can split them, to see if the Stabber will aggro again, giving the Hurricane a chance to follow me through. But he doesn't, so I just go ahead and jump. I don't really want to sit there a long time and wait for more stuff to show up. So I just jump, and then I wait to see if something follows, and then just align. You can see I'm just low speed aligning here to get them to decloak and tackle me, or to show me where they came out when they jumped in. And the Hurricane is right next to me, so now he's away from the gate. They're going to be likely tackling me right away. The Hurricane sort of looks like he wants to burn back to the gate for a second here. You can see he's not aggro, and he's headed towards the gate. But then I get Scram Web, and I don't know if he decided he wasn't going to make it, or if he just decided he could shoot me, but he goes ahead and aggroes. And so then I'm in really good shape. Again, I'm in a situation where the opponents have newts. I'm also in a situation where I'm taking a pretty heavy amount of damage. I think what happened here, though, is the Hurricane starts screaming he's taking too much damage, and the Stabber actually switches his DPS to my drones, because my Ogre start taking damage again. And I noticed that partly because my drones started taking damage. It hasn't happened yet. Yeah, there it goes. But I also noticed because my tank recovered pretty easily. I was actually not quite able to tank the DPS. But in the meantime, this is a great thing about them shooting my drones, is in the meantime I'm killing their ships. So there goes the Hurricane. This Stabber looks to me like he's really burning around way too quickly, but if he's going to shoot drones, he doesn't really want to be moving all that fast. Stabber tracks insanely well, so it's not a huge deal, but get Scram Web on the Stabber, switch DPS to him. I have one more Ogre. He just killed another Ogre, so I pop one of those out. Again, I'm conserving cap. It's kind of the same story where the Hurricane neuted me down real low. I don't really want to spend cap on my guns until I'm close enough that they're actually going to do damage. And then more stuff starts coming in. I think right here I should have been aligned I wasn't, and I thought of it. I go to a line in just a second here, but now would have been a good time to be thinking I'm going to exit because I'm out of cap. I'm out of ASP charges for the most part. I have 4 left, which is not going to be enough to like kill the Drake. So at that point, I need to be thinking about an exit. As it turns out, I wouldn't have had one. There was enough, like Stabber held a point on me long enough for this Lachesis to come in and point me. And so then it just kind of becomes a scramble to see if I can kill anything else before I go down. And I almost did. The Lachesis took a lot of damage here. He had a very light tank. And again, it's another case of his first priority when he came onto grid should have been to burn away from me. And just hold point. He's got enough people here that DPS won't be a problem. He just should try to do what he can to survive. But instead, he's hitting approach by the looks of it. Oh, maybe not. Maybe he's headed away from me. In any case, that needed to be number 1. But it worked out for him. I mean, he ended up in structure, but he didn't die. And they finished me off with the bomber and the Drake there. But pretty insane fight. And I think I wanted to share it, partly because it's insane. And that's just fun. But also just to say, there's this opportunity right now, I think, to take advantage of these drone ships. Mostly the Vexor to a point, although I think it's going to be harder to abuse with the Vexor because getting a tank on it is a little more difficult. But certainly Myrmidon, and then also Dominix, which again, Dominix is a little past the sweet spot, I think, because it's hard to maneuver. People are going to expect it a little bit more, but you can easily set up a 1200 DPS Dominix, and it'll get underestimated pretty consistently. But anyway, I hope that's interesting for you guys. As always, thanks for checking out the content. Look for some streaming coming in the next couple days. The wife's out of town. I'm gonna try and play a little bit more. But I might just quit Eve 2 after this amazing fight. I don't know if I can do much better than that anytime soon. But thanks, guys. See you next time.